I mean, do these numbers surprise you?
I mean, they're sad, but not startling. And we need to really understand the reasons behind the data, right? Some of the data came out in 2021. And that was a time when many students were feeling social isolation from the pandemic. So thinking through what's happening to our girls today and what we can do to prevent this work and these statistics in the future is really an important thing for us to focus on.
Earlier this week, I sat down with Jewel. We're going to air that full interview a little bit later in the show. And she has become a huge advocate for mental health. She's been an advocate for mental health for a really long time. She's talked about her personal experience with it. And here's what she said about what teen girls are up against today.
Almost all of our kids are living public lives. They're dealing with a lot of the psychological pressures of a very extrinsic, self-conscious way of going through the world. Are you pretty enough? Do you get enough likes? These aren't new issues entirely, but I think that social media and the way we're living our life is causing our kids to feel more public and more exposed.
Here's the thing, Anna, I agree with that assessment. I also think social media is sort of what gets the most airtime in this conversation, but I think there are a lot of other pieces, and I wonder what you see as those other pieces.
Well, I think it's important to also note that social media in itself isn't good or bad. It's how we use it. And what's happened for a lot of us is that we're using it so often, and our teens really haven't had any guidance on how to figure out what does healthy socialization look like? What does effective self-regulation look like? What does overall safety, so social, emotional, and physical safety look like? So I think you're right. Social media gets a lot of airtime, but what we really need to do is step back and figure out, do kids have a trusted adult they can turn to if something doesn't go as planned online or in real life? You know, are they prioritizing sleep and hydration? These seem pretty basic and fundamental, but actually for many girls, we know that that is a really good place to start.
The numbers were pretty startling, especially when you consider the unique challenges that LGBTQ youth face. I wonder sort of why you see those numbers being particularly high.
Well, I think that there are still, there's not that level of perspective and acceptance for our LGBTQ community. And I think we really need to focus on how do we support these students, not just in our local community, but in the greater community of what are the messages they're receiving online. Because for many students, especially those who are LGBTQ, they may be going online to socialize in a way that may feel safer for them than maybe in their immediate communities, but they may be exposed to things that may be stressful or overwhelming, and they may not have the adults that they can turn to that can provide support in times of need. So that idea of proactive, preventative support is especially important for these students.
Kellen, one of the things that broke my heart from Kellen's reporting, my colleague Kellen Rosenblatt, was when she spoke to girls, one of the things they were saying was like, adults just don't listen to us, or adults take some of this as like, you're teens, like you'll live through it, you'll get over it. And so the bulk of my audience is not teenagers. The bulk of my audience is parents and grandparents who want to be helpful to the girls and boys in their life. Where do they start?
I think the most important place to start is this. Coming from a place of empathy, compassion, curiosity, and understanding when teens want to open up to you rather than fear, anger, frustration, dismissiveness is an important place to start. And also meeting teens where they are at. They may want to talk to you at the dinner table or on the drive to school, but they may not want to talk to you in other times or places. So know where they are and where they're at and meet them there. And then the other thing to think about is, what are the things that you can do to make sure that they have multiple trusted adults that you trust as well, that they can turn to in times of need, and that they feel comfortable knowing when and how to ask for help? Because a lot of times parents and grandparents who are totally well-meaning are concerned that they are not the person that their kid wants to reach out to. But we just need to make sure that every kid has multiple trusted adults that we trust as well.